We
Where
are
do you think you are? North Korea?
streaming. I'm gonna send you a link to the stream. Yeah.
What is it? Chacos?
Chacko Scratch Classic.
Get there first.
And is this my mic?
Yeah. Yeah, you could turn it up and down. I'm gonna have him go out to
See.
yeah.
Get it off! The guy who works the desk that doesn't know how to take his mouth away from the microphone.
You could probably find it. It is public. Chacko Scratch Classic. It's under Marcus Memorial. Is the channel. Why do I have it as scheduled? You got it. Can you hear? I need the audio though. Go out and testing 1 2 testing 1 2 testing 1 2. Actually, I might need to add the mic. Hold on.
I've got sound, but it's not you.
Yeah, I think it's the yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's just running on delay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe about 30 seconds delay.
Use custom audio device. Okay. Okay, now. Okay, now we're on this mic.
Was the other mic picking it up? Probably, because it's that good.
Yeah, I didn't have it added.
First step out on first.
Yeah, so this will be the mic. Right now we're just have one for the actual tournament, for the actual separate cameras. One's gonna look, and then one just and then one just yeah. Do you want me to send you the links? Do you want me to send you to Facebook, or do you just want to do Facebook, or do you just want to do a separate Facebook one for now? Okay. I mean, it doesn't. Okay. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, sure. If you look, if you search for Marcus Memorial, there should be a channel on there with his logo. Yeah, you can just copy the link. Yeah, you can just copy the link. If you share the link. Should be good, right? Should be good. Right? Should be good. Should be good.
So wait, James, can you hear me? So I'm just good to Is this good to go now? Is this good to go now? All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to Chacko's. We welcome you to Chacko here in Wilkes-Barre, PA, for the November edition of the Chacko Single Scratch Classic. Our top five who have made the Stepladder include the tournament leader, Rick Graham, had an okay day on the lanes. 265, 226, 279. I'm sure that leads most tournaments on a regular basis. Your number two seed is Rob Baldrica, a local guy who doesn't bowl as many tournaments anymore, but has a very good career. He is the number two seed at plus 191. Your number three seed is Dylan Wesley at plus 162, a very young up-and-coming talent in our area. He'll be a treat to watch when you get to see his match. And right now is the number 4 seed and 5 seed Conrad Chappell, who did not strike as much as he did yesterday in Waverly, New York, but was certainly enough to make the stepladder. He was plus 140, and Troy Lint is 5th at plus 133. And that is your top 5 for today's stepladder. Other finishers for this tournament: J.R. Fleming, last week's winner in Carbondale, was plus 128. Jason Statler was 7th at plus 123. High female Alexis Nair was plus 106. Jason Statina was plus 104. And your high senior for the tournament was Joe Raypatch. He was plus 27. And that rounds out your top 10 for today's tournament. Conrad, being the higher seed, has chosen to start the match on lane 3, which means he will finish the match on lane 4, and we are set for the first shot of the November Single Scratch Classic. And it is a strike, as Conrad has been familiar with this whole weekend, especially after yesterday's performance in Waverly. Which I will get into Conrad's day yesterday as the match progresses. Right now we get a first look at Troy Lint, who was last year's Standard Regional Tour Rookie of the Year and the PBA 50 Player of the Year in the East region. So 2 very decorated awards there for Troy, and he starts his match on lane 4. The only guy whose backswing may be higher than Ryan Galley's, and he starts out with a strike as well. We are trying something new today for today's live stream with the Mike Marcus Memorial coming up in just a couple weekends. We are coming to you from YouTube, and we're just trying something new because we will be streaming the tournament from YouTube on that day as well. Something that you will see that you don't see today is the score monitors will be blown up, so that way we don't all have to squint our eyes. And even though I'm 26, I don't have spring chicken eyes, so that'll certainly be a help. And Troy starts out with a double. Yeah, I'll go say. Huh? Yeah, I'll mention it. Yep, yeah, absolutely. And Conrad gets a strike on lane 4. Him and Troy matching each other strike for strike. One thing you will see today that may or may not be a refreshing thing for everybody who's viewed these tournaments, but the left-handers are playing inside today. No urethane necessary today. I know I'm certainly happy about that. But, yeah, we're seeing the versatility here of guys like Conrad, guys like Troy, where, yes, they can move in and are actually comfortable hooking the lane a little bit. I know a few years ago Troy was somebody who, he was whacking them going straight, playing the Mike Scroggins line, but now he's playing the Jason Couch line. And Conrad, I'd say this is his bread and butter too. And he has 3 in a row to start. All strikes to begin our first match of the afternoon here. Conrad is throwing a 900 Global Reality, and it is shined, so I like to call it the Reality Pearl, but we know that's all coming out shortly. Troy right now is using the High Road Pearl, speaking of Mike Marcus. So two completely different ball motions. The High Road Pearl is a much smaller core, not as much of a tumbly ball motion as you'll see in Conrad's Reality. And it'll certainly help with shim like that as Troy comes in high flush there, but keeps the match all square with strikes to begin. So basically the rule of thumb is Conrad wants to see his ball read the lane a little bit less, so he's using something asymmetric. Because it is shined, it is allowing it to not be as tumbly as it would be at box surface, so that's why he has decided to use that Reality. And Troy's High Road Pearl, like I said, it's a smaller core. It's going to help him get a little bit more shim as he moves right on this championship pair. That's a much better shot than the last one, and he gets the light hit there, and 7 strikes to begin the match as these two guys are absolutely beating each other up right now. And oddly enough, they met yesterday at Sammy Ventura's over-under doubles. Conrad, which I will say again, had 76 out of 84 strikes yesterday for 7 games. And him and partner Steve Patton finished second to Troy Lint and Devin Gunderson. So these two guys are very familiar with each other, as Conrad wisely balks as the food number gets announced. Conrad will go through his routine again and just try to regroup. I mean, this is a dogfight right now. No misses have been issued yet, and he's just trying to get himself in the right frame of mind to make the shots. The winner of this match will face Dylan Wesley, the number 3 seed. That ball's a little up the lane, but Conrad, with that slower, tumbly ball motion with the asymmetric, blisters the rack there, and both players have the front 4. Conrad's games today, he started out with 209, came back with 248, 205 in game 3, and I crossed with him today, and that was a heck of a grind by him. 207 game 4, another grind, but then had 471 in match play with carryover, making the stepladder, and that's what got him into this spot. A big 249 the last game helped him get there. And right now, he is absolutely giving himself the best chance right now to strike, and we are seeing certainly what we saw yesterday in Waverly. I didn't see it yesterday, I had to work, but for those who were in Waverly yesterday, Conrad certainly gave everyone there a treat, as he had 3 300s yesterday, not consecutively, but he did have back-to-back. So it's just, he is on fire right now. He is certainly the hottest player right now in this stepladder. But Troy Lint may have something to say about it. 5th frame, looking to match Conrad, and he gets another Chacko's favorable hit there, and both players with the front 5. Sixth frame here, Troy Lint looking to keep the pressure on Conrad. No misses have been done yet in this match, and Troy keeps it going, and he has the front 6. So going back to Conrad, his games yesterday in Waverly were 255, 269, 300, 300, 269, 267, and then he added another 300 because it wasn't Baker, but it was total pinfall in the stepladder, and he had a 300 in the final match as well. So an absolute clinic put on by Conrad yesterday, but he's looking to get that win today. He finished second yesterday despite how well he bowled, but maybe a little redemption is on his mind, and that ball sat there a little bit more, and you could tell that after the last shot he did get it a little bit up the lane and it blistered the rack. That time he used it again and it just hit dead flush. But in case you were wondering what Conrad used yesterday for that set, he used a 900 Global Zen. So, I guess Zen ball good. I mean, I don't know. That's the saying these days. I'm certainly not saying it with mine, but Conrad could say that with his. And today he's thrown a reality, a shined reality. He does have a dull one in his bag, so I wonder if he maybe sees a little bit too much of a sharp angle on the back end, if he'll maybe go to that to try to even out his reaction. But right now, he's looking to get to the front 7, and he comes in high flush, gets away with one, and we have no misses here in our first match. None. And right now, Dylan Wesley, the number 3 seed, is just saying, guys, get it out of your system now, because I certainly don't want to deal with it. Get it out of your system. Although with the way Conrad's been bowling, he may not get it out of his system. It's just continuing. But Troy looking to answer. Again, 7th frame. That one's a little up the lane. And he did not make his best shot there, and he leaves the 4-7-10. I mean, to even get a spare in this situation would be great, but the fact that Troy has a very good possibility of opening here, that just makes Conrad's eyes a little bit wider as he, goes up on the approach for his 8th frame. And that's even worse, being that Troy got 1 out of that. So he loses a lot of count. Troy's max score is now 263. I don't have to do much math to tell you what Conrad's max score is, but the count was very big there for Troy, and now he's going to need to hope for Conrad to miss 3 times in these last 3 frames in order for Troy to have a chance. So a tall order, but Troy is a veteran. He didn't earn those awards that I spoke about earlier for nothing, so I'm sure he'll come back on the horse, but he needs to right here in the 8th frame. And now a bucket. It didn't look like he overcompensated from coming in high. It just looked like the ball just wiggled a little bit, and that's what that small core is going to do when you're playing in like that. That's probably why Conrad is using his reality, so he doesn't see that ball motion. Where, Conrad using a reality, yeah, he'll come in light and rip the rack, but Troy there, the ball just kind of lost a lot of energy, and he leaves himself the bucket. Does make it, but now he's going to need to hope for Conrad to open at some point, but with the way his look is, I really don't see that happening. But 8th frame, a double right here would do wonders for him when it comes to advancing. And there's another one, 8 in a row, and you could tell he's almost playing like a little bit of a baby fallback on that lane. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose or he just is getting the ball up the lane a little bit, but whatever it is, it's working out for him, and right now he has the front 8. And one more strike here, you could almost say that it's curtains for him, for Troy that is. So a strike here, and Conrad's going to face his very good friend Dylan Wesley in the second match. That one's way up the lane. And he leaves the 6-7-10. So this has gotten a little interesting now, although the count's going to be huge here. If Conrad can get 2 out of this, that will go a long way. But now all of a sudden, this match is getting a little bit interesting, and Troy Lynn could step up here in the 9th and 10th, strike out, and make Conrad think about his 10th frame. The count is very important here. Very, very important. You do not want to do what Troy did and get 1 here. Troy can't shut out Conrad, but he certainly can make him think about it. Again, 2 is very, very big here, and it looks like he's going to get the 2. Looks like he was trying to go for it a little bit, but he got the count. That's fine. Even if Conrad goes strike, I'm sorry, if he goes 9 spare 9 in the 10th frame, he could shut out Troy by 1, but in my opinion right now, if Troy does not strike on this ball or the first one in the 10th, it's pretty much Conrad's. So let's see if he makes a good shot after he got one up the lane last time and went through the face. And he did it again. And you could tell when he released it, he tried to save it a little bit. You know, as bowlers, we're subconsciously just trying to save shots that we know that are in. And he tried and it just didn't work. So now, with a spare here, Troy could max out at 241. Conrad would just need 7 and 2 balls. 7 and 2 balls to get the win. So, mathematically, this match is not over. However, you know, Conrad needs 7 and 2 balls, and I don't think that's going to be a tall order for him. But the number 3 seed, Dylan Wesley, coming up again, like I said, is a young talent from this area. He's actually from Back Mountain, PA. If you ever want to drive to Harvey's Lake to fish or to get Grotto Pizza, I suggest Grotto Pizza. That's where Dylan is around, and he is 19 years old and such a very good physical game. Does a lot of things right and has a very good ball roll to go with it. So it'll be interesting to see, as this is Dylan's first ever stepladder other than a sweeper, how this will go. Sometimes if you're young enough, you don't know any better but to think. And this could be either a learning experience or it could be a very big dream come true for Dylan. And Conrad right there just tripped over his own feet. Are we not live anymore? Oh, okay. No, Conrad didn't trip over his feet that time. The pins tripped over themselves, though, and he is moving on to face Dylan Wesley, his good friend. And there's a very big possibility that, well, whoever wins this next match, they get to face Rob Baldrica, who is also from this area, a very decorated bowler himself. Just doesn't get out to compete much anymore. We'll get into that. But, you know, this is an area stepladder. Conrad and Dylan and Rob from pretty much around the same area. They all bowl at Modern Lanes in Pittston, the home of Mark's Pro Shop, for all your needs. But right now Conrad's just trying to fish, trying to get something for the next game. However, I don't really know how much better of a look he's going to get considering what he shot this game. I don't think I mentioned the pattern yet today, but today's pattern was the Dead Man's Curve version 2, so it was 43 feet of oil with 24 milliliters of oil, and it's about 3 to 1. This pattern just does not call for you to play the outside part of the lane, and you know that's why you're seeing the lefties play where they are and the righties playing where they are. However, the right side gets blown apart anyways, so the righties end up there, but that is the pattern for today. And now practicing is Dylan Wesley as he competes in his first stepladder match. We'll see how he does, and we will take a short break. Alrighty, we are back. Match 2 of the Stepladder. Dylan Wesley versus Conrad Chappell. Dylan will start the match, and he has a strike to begin. And what a beautiful physical game this young man has at 19. And he starts out with a strike, and he's going to need a lot of them to beat Conrad. But sometimes being young is a benefit. Sometimes you may just not know any better, but these two know each other very well. They're very good friends. They bowl league together at Modern. And this is going to be a friendly match, but I'm sure a lot of strikes. And Conrad leaves the 2-4-10. Usually a right-hander's leave, but certainly not today. It looks like Conrad has moved his feet a little more right to try and get his ball to see a little bit more oil in the middle of the lane, and I don't know if he just threw that too slow or if it was a bad shot, but it certainly did not look like his best shot. And Conrad hits 2. It is early. If you're going to open, let it be in that frame, but he may not be able to afford to make many mistakes because Dylan might have just as much of a better look as Conrad. So, be very interesting to see how this match transpires. And speaking of the Zen, that is what Dylan is throwing, the 9-iron Global Zen. Meanwhile, my Zen is the slowest one in the world, so I don't get to throw it very much, because it's not very advantageous for me to do that. But it looks like Conrad is still sticking to his reality here. I think it's still the shined one, and it is. He rings a 7 there in frame number 2. Well, we have a slight moment. Future tournaments coming up. We all know the Mike Marcus Memorial is coming up in the first weekend of December. There is a Friday night sweeper that is still open for spots. However, if you want to bowl in the actual tournament, well, you'll have to be put on a waiting list because we are sold out. And, certainly an event you don't want to miss, even if it's just spectating, as there are going to be some very big names here competing. I actually don't know what's going on next weekend, but on the 28th, there is an open doubles in Pottsville. I believe that may be sold out, but contact TJ Trout for that tournament to reserve your spot or reserve the waiting list spot. And Dylan comes in high there, not his best shot, leaves the 310. J.R. Fleming, the gentleman who finished just outside the stepladder today, finished in 6th. January 8th, the day after Russian Christmas, for those of you Russian Orthodox out there like myself. January 8th, Crystal Lanes in Corning, New York. There is a tournament that's getting ran there. There are 2 squads, so contact J.R. Fleming for that tournament. He just wrote down on a piece of paper whatever I just said, so you're going to need to be able to get more information from him. But Dylan, with a very nice conversion there in the 310, you certainly don't want to match opens. But that'll also help him out mentally and maybe get himself a little bit loose because his best shot didn't strike, but he converted what in this case for him might be a difficult spare, this being his first ever stepladder. But it looked like they're on lane 4. He threw a Rubicon, so I think he is still throwing the Zen here on lane 3. He is. And he strikes on lane 3, crumbling the bucket. It'd be very interesting to see if he goes back to that Zen on lane 4 or if he sticks with his Rubicon. And you saw him and Conrad, Dylan might have said a joke there to Conrad. This is a friendly match. However, these two are competitors and they want to win. So, friendly jabber here in the back, but up on the approach, it is certainly like two people who just want to beat the living crap out of each other. So, Conrad right now, though, I think he has still decided to stick with his reality. I feel like he's playing lane 4 way more inside than he is on lane 3. He definitely is. He's almost sliding in the right gutter. And he leaves a 3-pin there. Conrad is actually sliding where I play on most house shots, so that gives you an idea of how deep he is. see about it. I mentioned the tournament, so you're good. Yeah. But right now, I'm not so sure about this look with Conrad. I like his look on lane 3, but if it were me personally, because it looks like on lane 3 he's playing them way more left than he is on lane 4. And if it were me, I would be using one ball on each lane because it is a lot easier to play the same. It's a lot easier to play the same zone with different balls than to play 2 different zones with the same ball. Now, some people are field players, they may not like to do that, but, I just think that that's the smarter move in my opinion because it's very difficult to play 2 different angles, so, my philosophy, and I actually got this from Cody Shoemaker, when I bowled the doubles with him, it is a lot easier to just play the same zone with a different ball, so... it'll be very interesting to see if Conrad goes to something like a Zen or even something a little bit less of a core to be able to play the same zone because he is not playing lane 3 the same. Yeah, it looks like he's at least an arrow. It looks like he's at least an arrow left with his feet at the foul line on lane 3, whereas on lane 4 it looks like he is sliding in the right gutter. I may not just have a great angle to it, but it just looks like he's playing lane 4 a little bit deeper, and it's just kind of throwing off the sink. But lane 3 is certainly his favorable lane right now. So let's see if Dylan is still using that Rubicon that he threw the first from. It looked like it's set up about 2 feet sooner than it needed to, and he is using it. And that ball hooked immediately. That ball hooked immediately. That ball hooked almost as early as my ball naturally hooks when it hits the lane. And he does cross over for the strike, but I do have to wonder if at what point if Dylan says, you know what, I'm going to use the Zen on lane 4. Good shot. Yeah, mixes him up. Takes advantage of that Brooklyn strike there to get 3 in a row, and, this is turning into... This is certainly turning into an all Dylan Wesley match, but Conrad may have something to say about it. Actually, he will have something to say about it with how much he struck the last few days. Still with that reality. Yeah, it's just not... Yeah, he just does not look comfortable in that lane as he leaves the 2-4-7, and it's just... it's a struggle right now, and when your opponent carries Brooklyns and has 3 in a row at you, you need to start stringing them as well. But this is, this is turning into Dylan's match very quickly. But waiting in the wings is the number 2 seed, Rob Baldrica. And this will be the first time you guys are seeing him on the live stream. And, for those who don't know Rob, he is a very, very talented player. Did used to compete in regionals and cashed quite often. So it'll certainly be a treat to see Rob, at least for myself or the people in this area, to see him on the stepladder. Somebody was angry and was slamming doors. I would too if I was getting underpaid at my job. That's wide, but he strikes. It just really looks like Conrad is playing 2 different lines right now, and I just would hope that at some point he just compartmentalizes that I cannot throw that reality on lane 4, but it could at least go 2 balls down, not to be confused with 3 doors down, 2 balls down to be able to get himself a better look. Still has the Rubicon, and he strikes there on lane 4. So Dylan's still sticking with the Rubicon. It looks like he just gave that one a little bit more room, and that ball certainly ran over the 8 pin, so I mean, hey, this is why I'm in the booth and he's down there. He's seeing something that I don't, and it's certainly proven to be good. But he has turned that Brooklyn into 4 in a row, and right now he could really stomp on Conrad's face right here with the 5th one. And he does not get the favorable Chacko's carry that we all know of, and he leaves the ball over 7. But it's just such a great game that he has. I remember in the summer, and I had just met Dylan in the summer by bowling the PBA League, and one night afterwards, Jason Statina was helping me out, and Dylan ended up staying after, and he was helping Dylan out, and we were just noticing some things in his game. I think one of the best things, and that's got to hurry a lot, and he, with a costly error there, although if Conrad cannot strike on lane 4, I don't know how costly it's going to be. But just to finish that story, one of the best things that Dylan does with his game is his push away. I know Jason, when he was talking to me, said, whenever his dad, who taught Jason, what the push away should be in bowling, you almost have to imagine a bar and getting that ball a little bit over the bar, and it just creates this gravity-esque swing, and that's what Dylan's game is. It's all gravity. Conrad, on the other hand, it's just completely different. And he went to more loft there on lane 4, and it just did not work out for him. And it's really looking like Dylan's missed 7-pin there isn't going to do a whole lot of harm to him. He could shoot 247. We give Conrad this spare here, and he strikes out, he'll shoot 218. And right now, if Dylan strike spares the rest of the game, he'll be at 217. But, with the way Dylan looks like he's figured out lane 4, with the look he's had on lane 3, I really think that Dylan will be able to put 2 in a row together. And Conrad, almost with a lapse in concentration, makes the 6-pin. Just to reiterate from future tournaments, I know Stephanie Sheridan, tournament director of the Mike Marcus Memorial, said that yes, there is more spots for the sweeper on Friday. It is at 6 p.m. here at Chacko's. It's 5 games, $60 entry, so pretty high-paying sweeper if you ask me. So if you like money and you don't like to bowl a million games, this might be the tournament for you. And I heard the shot isn't going to be one where you bash your head off the wall, which may or may not be something that people want, but nonetheless, there are spots available. December 3rd, 6 p.m. here at Chacko's is the Mike Marcus Memorial Sweeper, which kicks off the whole weekend. And Conrad there with a really bad break on his good lane 3, and this is turning into an all Dylan Wesley match here, as he looks to now face a gentleman which, he may or may not know very well just from bowling at Modern, but Rob Baldrica, he could bowl. And Rob has had some time to sit and rest, and I'll get into why that's so important for him when we get to our next match. But Conrad there makes the 8-pin. But Dylan right now, as long as he could just stay out of his own way and clear whatever noise he may or may not be having in his head, he'll be able to advance in this match. But yeah, just watch the gravity here, like boom, like that is just such a beautiful swing, and it's just gonna create a lot of repeatability in shots, which is the big thing that people will struggle with in this game, is repeating shots, especially on patterns where they are 3-1, 2-1, where you need to hit your mark consistently. And Dylan's got a really solid game, and as he gets older, he's only going to get better. And, tournaments like these are a stepping stone for him. That's a little up the lane. But he carries the light hit there, shows a little bit of excitement, and he knows that this is his match right now to lose. And unless Conrad could put together a string here for 207, I think this might be mathematically over.
Battery's dead.
Is that it?
Let's swap it out quick.
We're still.
We do apologize for some technical difficulties. We're getting a new battery in the camera. Conrad struck, though, on the right lane for the first time this game, so that's progress. The only problem is that it is a little bit too late. Right now, Conrad could strike out for 207, Dylan Wesley could strike out for 247, so as long as Dylan doesn't catastrophically do anything bad, he is going to face Rob Baldrica in the semifinal match. But, you know, what a great tournament for Conrad. What a great weekend, nonetheless. Now, I'm sure Conrad would have wished he gotten a little bit more brackets yesterday, but, you know, hats off to him. Two very good tournaments in a row for him, finishing second with Steve Patton in the doubles, and then today he's finishing fourth. I mean, you know, if you told me that you were going to finish second and fourth in the same weekend, that's a pretty good weekend. Obviously, the win is what you all strive for, but, you know, this is the next best thing. Could people still hear me? Oh, okay.
I was plugged in all this.
I was making sure I was actually had it in the right way.
It's only going one way. Or we could go in both ways.
And that'll be 203 for Conrad. You guys aren't able to see it, but Conrad and Dylan with a very nice embrace there. Again, there are two very good friends off the lanes, and
I do.
two very good friends on the lanes. And, you know, right now, I'm just trying to give you some verbal commentary since we don't have a picture right now. It is getting settled. But Dylan Wesley with a strike there advances to the semifinals against Rob Baldrica. The youth movement moving its way up the ladder.
We're just gonna have to switch over those filters. I forgot my laptop charger. We'll have to figure that power thing out.
Oh, so long.
You're gonna have to because my laptop.
And we're back. And yay, Dylan's going to try the Zen on the right lane. I don't know why that pleases me. It really shouldn't, but it does. 240. 247 for Dylan Wesley. It beats Conrad's 204. Conrad finishes in fourth place, and now we get to take a look at the number 2 seed, Rob Baldrica. We'll let him warm up, and we will be back in a little bit. So, I know I've been kind of building this up for a little bit. Rob Baldrica is a very talented player from this area. For those who do not know Rob Baldrica, he can bowl. It is very unassuming, but he can bowl. Competed a lot in regionals in his day, and did very well. Did very well for himself. A very respectable regional career for him. But for those who do not know, Rob does have an iron deficiency. And this was very important for him to be the 2 seed today so he could actually rest. And, it's just, it's one of those unfortunate things. Somebody with so much talent has to deal with something like that. And, unfortunately, it just causes, some headaches. But Rob was able to sit for a little bit, which I know for a lot of people in the bowling world when it comes to the stepladder, you're hoping you don't sit. And for Rob, this was huge for him. So, very happy to see him in the ladder today. And, he's certainly going to be somebody that a lot of these players from our area are going to be very happy to see him be in this ladder. But both players start out with spares. I will say at some point during this match we will be having a brief pause because the laptop that's supporting the live stream is about to die. We may just need to switch over a little bit, but right now we're just going to just kind of we're going to take the laptop to its entirety and call whatever action I can. And Dylan right there on lane 3 has a strike, and he has a good start in this match. But now it comes to Rob Baldrica. Rob is throwing a high road pearl because, like myself and Ryan Galley, if you're watching, he does not have a whole lot of tilt. And, ball reads a little bit, the ball just needs to respond a little bit more down the lane. And, he said that he threw this high road pearl all day. So, we'll see what happens, but Rob leaves the double wood. And Rob gets himself the spare on lane 4. So 2 spares to begin the day for Rob Baldrica in his semifinal match. Waiting in the wings, though, is the number 1 seed Rick Graham, who I felt like I haven't talked a whole lot about yet today. Rick Graham, he is well known in the bowling world, especially on the East, but he had himself a day. And Baldrica comes in high, and he leaves the 6 pin. So a little bit of a shaky start here for Rob. I feel like he could move about a half zone in, and just kind of find himself a little bit more oil to play the shim. Because like myself, Rob's natural miss is going to be up the lane. And because of that, he needs to get his ball to read more oil so it could push a little bit more. But Rob is a pretty good spare shooter, and he gets himself 3 marks. But if Dylan could step up here and get a double, it's going to be a huge thing against a veteran like Baldrica. Am I still alive? Oh, okay. Dylan's sticking with that Rubicon, and he's sticking with the strikes. You can see there is a decent applause here in the background. For those of you who can't see, Dylan's parents, Brian and Mindy, they are here in attendance to watch their son compete. Dylan's brother Jake, he is also here to watch. He bowled in today's tournament, and along with some other friends. We are a pretty close group of friends here, and we are all pulling for Dylan as much as we're pulling for Rob. And we just want to see these players succeed here. Obviously, not all of us could win at the same time, but everybody's going to get their due. And Dylan right there, his ball comes in through the face and leaves the 3-6. at the 3-6, and Dylan picks it up. So he could not fully take advantage of Rob getting his 2 spares there, but you know, I still think Dylan has a better look than Rob right now. Going to be very interesting to see if Rob does decide to move left. Now, he came in light on this lane last time, so we'll see if he makes any adjustment. He stuffs that in the pocket there, and Rob with a strike there on lane 4. I have to say, you know, Mark's Pro Shop really well represented here in this stepladder. You know, Rob is obviously a customer of Mark, Conrad, Dylan. You know, it's very nice to see. And, you know, right now, Rob is looking to get himself his first double. That looks good. And I believe that's a 4-pin. No, he struck. Well, Rob's a tall guy. He's in the way, so he struck. So that's the first double of the day there for Rob. It looks like he's just seeing the ball hook at least a foot or so sooner. Now, Dylan, it looks like... Is he throwing the Zen here? I don't know. It looks... No. Oh, that's not his best shot. And he goes Brooklyn. It looks like at some points in this match here, Dylan gets himself a key Brooklyn strike, but we're going to see if he could take advantage of it, though. But that's a huge break for the second match here. So Dylan there with a 4-pin, and he comes back and gets a spare. So did not take advantage of the Brooklyn. However, he does give Rob a little bit of a chance now. So Rob, coming off of a pretty flush strike here on lane 4, will look to get himself 3 in a row and possibly, dare I say, take the lead away from Dylan. Well, we'll see. Oh, that looks like a really good shot. That's a really good shot there by Rob. That's 3 in a row. And he is putting the heat on Dylan. And Mark Mancini did text me. That's why you didn't hear me for a little bit. And Rob's showing his veteran status with the Pro Shop. That's one of the older polos that Mark used to have when he used to be with the with EBI. But Rob is a veteran, and he's a very crafty veteran. Again, very unassuming game. See, guys like him and I with no power, we are very unassuming. So you just got to watch out for us sometimes. Rob looks like he's moved left on this lane, and he gets another strike, and that's 4 in a row, and he has taken the lead away from Dylan. What a great shot there by Rob Baldriga there. What a great 2 frames for Rob Baldriga. He doesn't look tired now, that's for sure. Those 2 were absolutely aced out of his hands. So now Dylan's got to answer. Dylan simply has to answer. This is a very important 2 frames here for Dylan. I really think that a double here would go a long way. And that's light, and he leaves the 2-8. And you could sense a little bit of tension in the Dylan Wesley camp here between his family and, you know, a lot of us who are rooting for Dylan. And I told Mark it absolutely sucks that this had to be this match for him and Rob met, because, you know, again, it's 2 guys from the area, 2 very talented players, 2 completely different ages. You know, Rob's the finesse game, Dylan's the little bit more of a tweener game, but that is a very, very costly error as he misses double wood, and that's, you know, I know we haven't seen a lot of Rob on these live streams, but you do not want to give somebody like him an opening, that's for sure. And I've bowled a league against Rob in the summer at Modern in the PBA league, and he doesn't let you breathe. So, you know, it's going to take a little bit. But Dylan needs to get back on track here and strike. He could still shoot 225. And that's out the... yeah, I thought that was out the window. And it is. 1, 2, 8, 10, and it looks like the amazing run of Dylan Wesley here in the ladder may come to an end here, but certainly nothing to hang his head on. I mean, obviously this match isn't over yet, but, you know, this is experience for him, that's for sure. This is very good experience for a young man with a very, very bright future. And he opens again. Now Rob just looking to put the finishing touches here on this match. Again, I can't say it enough, very good experience for Dylan. You know, obviously, again, the win's the priority, but this might be his best finish in a tournament, third. So, you know, at least in these Chacos tournaments, this is his best finish. That's left of target, but Rob leaves the 10-pin.
It's the live stream. Just the chat. Mark B. I don't know whoever watched.
Oh, yeah. Probably Mark Morris, yeah. Is he the only guy that commented?